Live from the J.C. Newman Cigar Studios in the great state of New Hampshire and the Gurkha Cigar Studios in fabulous Las Vegas, Nevada. Welcome to the Smokin Tabacco Show with your hosts, Matt Tobacco and Kevin Acuff.
And good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of the Smokin Tabacco Show. My name is Matt Tobacco from SmokinTabacco.com, and I am joined once again by my good compatriot and friend from fabulous Las Vegas, Nevada, Kevin Acuff. And Kevin, don't mind me.
Don't mind you.
I am just looking. If I seem a little disconnected, it's because I am... Oh, I texted Terrence. Unmute. Wrong text.
So hopefully I won't be plagued with the technical difficulties of the past few weeks. I've had a software update, a camera update, a microphone update, and attitude update. So I think we're probably pretty good.
Yeah, that's those are all good things. I'm really glad that you looked into all that because you know, shit was whack. But to be fair, I don't think we're live on YouTube, which is weird. All right, so here's the thing. We've had a few technical issues the past few weeks, which is weird because we were running pretty good once we got our new studio up and running in our new house. And everything was kind of working fine. And then all of a sudden, we started losing the feed all the time, and I was having issues. The broadcast software was definitely out of date. And I updated that. I went through. I did a lot of like programming stuff, and I also did a temporary solution to. I brought another router down here that was a dedicated network to kind of help with bandwidth and stuff to break it up from the rest of the house, which so far has proved to be successful. My only issue is the update to the broadcasting system was a very radical update. And while I went through and some things were moved around and they're in different places, I was able to find all the things I'm supposed to do, even though they're kind of in different spots and they're set up a little bit different. And it's weird because as soon as I click the live button, it's like it goes, fuck you, I'm just kidding. And I'm telling you, I swear to God, I had it set up for Facebook, YouTube. I had, you know,
live. We are live on YouTube, by the way, because I'm looking at it.
Are we? Because I go down to the channel and I don't see it.
I'm looking right at it.
Oh.
I see you waving your hand, and I see me looking down and talking to you in the whole 9 yards. So.
Oh, maybe we
are. I had the
well,
audio
it's coming.
muted,
Well. To my other point. So, for example, I filled out our restream thing with our guests, their company, and all that, and it was all done. It was all ready to go. And then as soon as we go live, I see it says Juan Lopez from Gurkha, who was with us last week, and I'm like, bitch, come on.
Well, why don't we get to our exciting guests?
We do, because I need to step away for a moment, but I will be back quick. But let's bring them in first, and then I'll let you kind of do your thing. So, without further ado, I'm excited to welcome these two back, and it's funny that I say two because more often than not, it's usually one of them. But for some reason, whenever this show rolls around for this company, both of them seem to come here. I feel special because I don't know. I always seem to get both of them, and that's a treat because I love both of them very much. It is our good friends from Nicaragua. It's Josh and Cynn Coburn of Dissident Cigars. Let's bring them in here. There they are. Look at them. I don't know what it is.
Hi, guys.
I always seem to get both of them on the show. And I know that Cynn's usually kind of the only one that does interviews and stuff, but I don't know. Josh must love me because he always seems to appear for this one.
Yeah, he truly does not do interviews, but you know, it's you. We gotta both come on, right?
I know. Sorry, I will be right back.
Like a true power couple.
I will be right back. I apologize, but I'll be very quickly. Kevin, hold down the fort for me as best you can.
It's okay. We don't need Matt. We'll rename the show the Kevin, Josh, and Cynn Power Hour or something like that while he's done.
There you go.
So how are things in Nicaragua, guys?
Or it's good. This shows two screens, and like the one screen is showing us like the way it should be, and then the other one is like way delayed. So are we okay on your end?
Yes,
Does it look
it seems
fine?
okay. It's like I'm looking at it on.
Okay, weird.
I see it on YouTube, and everything seems fine. So.
That's so strange. Okay, I'll just stare at the little screen because I'll just like get lost in this like delayed one. I'll stumble over my words.
Uh-oh. You can hear yourself talk? Is that kind of like hearing yourself think?
No, actually, it's not a matter of talking, but like everything I do, it's delayed by like 2 seconds on the screen. So it's just like, I don't know.
That's weird.
I keep like looking at it and it's weird.
Yeah, you know what? I'm kind of seeing what you're seeing. It's like I see actually my camera feed, and then I see like the little feed moving the cigar. It's just like a little bit delayed behind. So I am seeing what you're seeing. But hey, we'll get through it.
No worries.
We will.
So how is Nicaragua, guys?
Good. We are right now we're in windy season, but we're also ramping up for the hottest part of dry season. So I'm thankful for the wind today, but man, I've been sweating. I mean, I'm in like this short cutoff tank top and I'm still like soaked. I'm just all sweaty. Like it's ridiculous.
Wonderful
It's
humidity,
the only
huh?
time of year I don't like. Oh, yes, that's the worst part of it is when the wind dies down and then the humidity ramps up because rainy season is essentially coming. So it'll be here May 15th. So, but until then, you're just like, it's so bad. And we don't have AC. Like, we just have fans in our house, and that's it. So, which we like. We prefer it that way. But, man, at night, it's like you got to take a shower just to cool yourself off and then lay down in bed all cold in front of the fan. Things get aired out, you know?
Oh, I bet. Yeah, I was down there. Now, what part of Nicaragua are you guys in? Like, where do you live in Nicaragua?
Southern Nicaragua, so it's a town called San Juan del Sur.
Okay.
It's actually a surf town, so that's for those of you that surf. You've probably heard of this town. It's very well known for that, but
Okay.
I don't know. It's just a quiet little kind of ocean town, and it's really nice. We live up in the jungle, on the side of a mountain, so we do get cooler weather up here. But when it's hot up here, I'm like, oh, there's no way in hell I'm going to town because if we're sweating up here on the mountain, then it's really bad in town.
Oh, I bet. Now, are you closer to Managua than Esteli?
No. So Managua is about 2.5 hours from where we live, and then Esteli is another 2.5 hours from there.
Okay.
So it takes us about 5 hours, 4.5, 5 hours to get to Esteli.
Oh, wow. That's definitely a journey.
And you know what's funny is like, as a crow flies, it's really not that far. But those of you that understand Nicaragua know that like you can't go anywhere without it being a long trek. You know, you have oxen in the road and horses and drunk people and street
oncoming
dogs,
traffic.
Yes, all that stuff. So like
40 mile an hour.
Yeah, so I mean Esteli is really not that far, but when you just throw in all those factors, it takes forever.
Yeah, the Pan American Highway is definitely not for the faint of heart. If you don't like traffic, maybe sit in the back of the car and put a blindfold on because it will definitely get your attention.
It's a whole different level of driving here. Like when I go to the States and I have to drive, it stresses me out because it's very different than here. But here, you're white knuckling it the entire time you're driving. Like you have to be just like 10 seconds ahead with everything. It's super stressful. Like it's just a whole other animal when it comes to driving here. In America, everyone just goes like 90 miles an hour. That's what you have to worry about. Here, it's totally different.
Yeah, nobody stops. Everybody hits the button. Everybody's blowing their horn at everybody else. You got the motorcycles and scooters going in between vehicles, and it actually seems though that a good majority of the people down there ride the motorcycles and scooters. So now going to the factories, you definitely see the sea of scooters and everything out in front of the sea of motorcycles, more so than vehicles, which makes sense because getting around down there is definitely not easy.
Oh yeah, that's one thing I love is, you kind of get those little reminders of what makes it different here. And, I'll never forget the first time I saw my father driving by that factory, and it was just a sea of motorbikes out front. And I've never seen anything like that ever in my life. So that will always be ingrained in my memory. It was such a cool little thing to see.
And then where you guys live, it's like I love your posts when you show the wild animals and the monkeys and the sloths and of course and all of your fur babies and whatnot that have the run of the house. It's how cool is it to be able to be there and be surrounded by that and just kind of be one with nature and see and hear all of those sounds.
Oh yeah. We even have a pet wild bird that's on his third dry season coming to our house, and he comes
no
by
kidding.
every single day. Yeah, he hangs out with us all day, every day. He actually lost one of his legs, so many people question us as to whether it's the same bird, which we know it already is because it's the only grackle up here on the farm. But now he lost a leg, so I'm like, there's no denying it's the same bird now because he's got one leg.
And of course, that's the kind of fucking bird that comes to our house. Is the one that's got a leg problem. It's not.
Well, of course. Well, because he knows you guys are going to take care of him. I mean, with your guys' work with the animal rescue and everything that you do. I mean, you guys both have hearts of gold. I mean, my wife and I are big time animal lovers, and absolutely appreciate what you guys do for the animals down there because I know there isn't really anybody else doing it. So it's really cool to see.
Well, and me donating our land to have a rescue center built, it was kind of for selfish motives because I knew that if I didn't do that, we'd have 50 dogs at our house because I wouldn't be able to turn a dog down. So I'm like, let's just donate our land and have someone build a rescue center on it because then I'll feel better about the situation here.
Yep.
Yeah, I could totally see my beautiful
I was gonna
wife,
say
Barbara would want to do that as well. It's like, well, do we have the room for that? Because every time you go to the shelter, every time you see an animal, whatnot, she wants to bring them home. So,
I was gonna say
Yeah.
I was gonna bring this topic up later in the show because I know this was kind of a big deal that you guys did that with the land and the animal, and I know you guys are animal people too. So I remember seeing that story. And because I know you guys sent something out, and we put that story out, even though it's not like a cigar press release, which we're not like that.
Right.
It was something that I was very happy to put out, and it's nice to see stuff like that from time to time. A lot of community giving back and stuff like that. So yeah, really cool that you guys did that. And I love animals, and I come from a family that's really about animals, and so there's always been a soft spot for me. So that for me personally, I was like, I don't want to use the word tickled, but like it touched me. I was like, oh, that's really special. And I was really excited to see that story.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, we're the type of people to where we want to leave an imprint wherever we're at, and we understand the value of living in a third world country in a way that I don't know that others necessarily would. Like, yeah, it comes with benefits if you're a United States citizen, right? Everything is cheaper, but in reality, you have so many opportunities to help locals here, and of course, with us being animal lovers, we're just like, how do we give back to this country? And this is actually the first ever animal rescue center of its kind in Nicaragua. So it's starting something that will hopefully turn a whole new leaf here, and you'll start seeing less street dogs and less cancer and other diseases going around. And so I'm very
that's
thankful
friggin'
for
awesome.
that because, yeah, I don't want to use a country that is so gracious to allow us here. I want to make sure that we do something good with us being here. And to me, what better way to do it than to give back by helping the animals that can't help themselves,
100%.
Well, and the other thing with that is I guess, Matt, you were the first, I think, interview that we actually did, and one of the questions I remember you asking is like, what's dissident mean to you guys? Because it means it's got so many different connotations to it, kind of.
Right.
And, it could be this military uprising, which, yeah, we play into that to some degree, but it could also be, kind of punk rock, which is how we view it too. But to us, like, doing something good in a country like this is also being a dissident, because in a world that's so wacky right now and everything's so crazy. The least we can do is show people that, look, you can go against the grain of all the BS that's going on and do something good instead. And it's crazy, but that's dissident right now. Being a good, kind person is being a dissident right now. What a weird paradox. That's punk rock today. What? How did that happen? How did things swing that way? But it works for us. It's perfect.
Yeah, I mean, you guys, I remember when you guys first came on, it was shortly after you bought the brand. And I remember I was excited because I had known you guys before you were even in the business. And I remember when I heard the news, I was like, hey, I know them. This is weird. Because you guys weren't really like, you weren't really in like, the cigar circles and stuff. Like you guys were cigar people, but I knew you were still doing a lot more of your motivational speaking and the other stuff you were doing before. And so when I saw, I was like, oh, that's my first thought. And it's nothing. I was like, oh, that's random. I'm like, I know those people. And they bought that brand. Like I know that brand too. They're cool. And I just remember being like, this is very like interesting. And I was like, I'm curious to see what happens. But no, you guys have done a great job with the brand. It's been fun to watch the last few years. But yeah, that was kind of, you're right. I remember asking that question, and it was like, well, what is, obviously it's not a brand you started. So, a lot of people, they start a brand, for they have a theme behind it, they have a meaning behind it. And you guys kind of stepped into this brand. So, while I think that the brand kind of suited you, obviously, now that it's yours, you're going to form it and mold it to, whatever you want it to be and kind of the theme you want it to be, or steer the ship the way you want it to go. And I think you guys have done a really good job of that the last few years. We've seen you at the trade show, and you guys are there doing your thing. The releases you guys put out, I know last time we were on, you guys were teasing, but since we have seen the Molotov came out. That was a limited edition that we saw at PCA 22. Was that 22? Yeah, it was 22.
Yeah.
Which was a fantastic cigar. I believe that cigar was on our list in 22 as well.
Yeah.
That was a cool little cigar. I smoked a handful of those. Those were delicious. I wish there was more, and I hope you're bringing it back. Which I'm sure you'll probably tell me.
Sorry about your luck.
Sorry, I can't. I'm horrible at multitasking.
No, I'm actually smoking. I'm smoking the. I don't know if you can see this. I'm smoking the home. Now, if I'm assuming this is a limited edition from 2023, correct?
Yes, that's actually what they considered a small batch because it comes out almost every year. Like, we've slowed down with it. Prior to us, it was every year, but just looking at the numbers, we were like, yeah, we don't really need to do it every year. We can just bring it out on occasion. But they considered that one a small batch, so we still consider it that. If you want to, get technical between small batch and LEs, but that one always does back out eventually.
So basically an annual release.
Yeah. Semi-annual,
okay.
Yep.
Whenever the fuck we want release.
Pretty much. That's how it goes in this industry, right?
Yep. And then I'm actually smoking it might be too bright, but the Heretic, which is the Midwest only cigar, which is so good. Well, it's Midwest only, but also if you hold a Dissident event, then you qualify for the Heretic as well, but extremely limited numbers, like less than we've ever done. So
we need to have a Dissident event in Las Vegas so we have access to this.
I have some.
Yeah. Well, we have a couple lounges now that have Dissident in Vegas, so I would love to do an event out there.
Actually, it's funny.
Awesome.
Yeah, and I saved one for myself. I sent the rest up to Canada, so that they can be reviewed.
Wow.
They're going to be reviewed by our friend of the North, Mitchell Santaga, the Asian sensation. He's doing his thing, man. I gotta say. So he's gonna check those out. But our cigars tonight we're a little backwards tonight. Our cigars are brought to you by the number 2 guyscigars.com. That's right, the number 2 guyscigars.com. Head over there today to find an amazing selection of cigars and cigar accessories from the industry, only at the number 2, guyscigars.com. And as always, we are cutting and lighting our cigars with none other than Dupont products. That's right, featuring the new Biggie lighter. Kevin, I don't know if you have yours. Do you have yours? Oh, that's fucking nice.
I do have. Isn't this thing gorgeous? This black lacquer with gold. I mean, it is just.
He has the
what
one
a
that
cool
I
lighter.
want.
And this nice flat flame is just, as it was brought to me by Carlito, ever since he told me that it's as close to a match as you can get without using a match, I have fallen absolutely in love with the flat flame lighter.
Yeah, I tell you, it's my new favorite lighter as well. That flat flame is just, it's so different. I like the way it lights. It's I know what he's talking about. Where it's not a soft flame lighter, but I understand the concept that he's trying to get at with that, and it's true. I mean, it does light a little bit different than your standard jet torch. I like it. I think it's great. I think it's cool. And as always, I mean, it's Dupont, and so it's reliable. This thing's never gonna break. So do yourself a favor, treat yourself, shake up the legacy with SD Dupont. We kind of touched on a lot of things already, which Kevin was very good at playing gracious host to, while I stepped away. Mm-hmm. But I have some guests in my house as well, which maybe one of them will make an appearance. If he wants to, it's up to him whenever he wants.
Some tall guy just texted me a picture that seems to have you in the background. I don't know who that could possibly be.
Yeah, the Great White Gringo of Terrence
Ryan. Look at
that.
Look at that.
He's in my house.
There you go.
He broke in. I don't know.
Now he just has to join.
I know. He's doing his thing. It's funny because he was just in Las Vegas and Kevin was with him at TPE and they did their whole thing. Now he's in my neighborhood and he's with me. So this is awesome. Terrence is making the rounds at Smokin Tabacco. He's making sure that if we can't come to him, he comes to us. So I like that. That's a man of service right there. Don't forget it. What'd you say, Cynn?
We were just having this conversation the other night about how with the cigar industry, it's so crazy because, we'll see people who, say they're from Massachusetts, but we'll see them in SLE, and then we'll see them in Vegas, and then we'll see them in Texas, and I'm like, only the cigar industry will it be like this, where you're, seeing these random people in these random states together, and it's like, hey, how you doing? But it's never in their hometowns. It's it's the coolest thing to me. I love it.
I joke with Kurt Kendall all the time. I say I see you in Las Vegas more than I see you back up in New Hampshire where we live. It's true. Yeah. I see him out there. And same with Garofalo these days. I do see him from time to time. When I can make it up to two guys, but I see him more at the trade shows, and I'm like, I see you here more than I see you at home. It's true. I'll get behind what you're saying because it makes a lot of sense. But that's just kind of how it is these days, and everyone's busy doing their thing, and
wonderful.
Which is good, right? But unfortunately, sometimes
the cigar industry is one tight dysfunctional family.
It is a tight dysfunctional family.
True.
But that's just the way it rolls, and I think everyone would agree that's just the way we like it. We're our own little group, and I like it that way. We were talking about the Heretic a little bit earlier. I know this is a Midwest exclusive, but I don't know if we talked a lot about the blend on this particular cigar, or the significance of why this is a Midwest blend. Tell us a little bit about the backstory on the Heretic.
Yeah, so Josh and I are both from the Midwest. Those of you that don't know, I actually grew up in Detroit, and then
Detroit?
In adult years lived in Flint, and then Josh grew up in Iowa, and we just felt like, Dissident is all about your roots and standing true to who you are, and I think a lot of that comes from your roots, right? Where you grew up and stuff, and so I just really wanted to highlight where we came from, how we became who we are and how we overcame things. it just made sense to do a Midwest only cigar to give love back to the stomping grounds that made us who we are. And the second part of that is, the whiskey that we did when I first bought this company was made by our best friends, and they're in Flint, and that whiskey is made in Detroit. And he was so gracious to help us come up with that whiskey and help us understand whiskey a little bit better. And so I kind of let him play a part in this cigar. So he helped to blend this cigar as a thank you for what he did for us to get us kind of where we are, because being dissidents, we walking into this company, I wanted to do something that kind of, I don't know, stamped us a little strong. And so I'm like, let's come out with a whiskey. Like, what, why not do a whiskey for the first thing that we come out with, saying that we're owners of Dissident. And he was on board with it. So I'm like, man, well then I'm going to let you help me with a cigar then. Like, so that's what ended up happening. So it was a little token of appreciation for what he did for us to help us kind of make our way where we're at now. And so, so that's where Heretic came from. And I see Calvin's on right now. So he's our Midwest rep. So he's the guy that gets all these Heretic cigars in all the states in the Midwest. So,
and if you don't mind,
to
throw a little bit out there too, like the lounges in the Midwest, I'll shout out Iowa Cigar Company, because I wouldn't know anything about cigars if it weren't for the guys in that lounge.
Prior to even owning a cigar company.
Like, I had my first cigars there, my first few cigars and stuff like that. And this year they were our number one lounge. Well, last year they were our number one selling Dissident lounge. And why wouldn't they be, right? It's awesome to get that kind of support. And it's a way to kind of give a thank you to them too. If it's exclusive to the Midwest, it helps, the people that helped us. That's really what it comes down to. And yes, Micallef Esquire, Slipknot. They
did come from Iowa.
Those guys lived not far from the lounge.
That's farm country too. That's
Oh, it is. It definitely is.
That's real farm
and
country.
And some of the nicest people you'll ever meet. Like, Iowa nice, it's really a thing. Like, Iowans are wonderful humans. So I will say that. And then someone asked real quick about my health. I know that's been like a huge topic.
Yeah, that was Barbara.
For the past year, I've just been struggling immensely. Some of which I haven't talked about, some I have. Right now, I actually have to go this weekend to get a liver biopsy. I can back up a little bit. So they thought I had breast cancer. They removed the tumors, and they said it wasn't breast cancer, even though the tumors had hormone receptors, if you guys know anything about that. But anyway, so they removed those, but it didn't, that wasn't the cause of everything that I'm going through. And then they realized I have an enlarged liver, and they've been trying to figure out why I have an enlarged liver. And so I have to go for a liver biopsy this weekend and have to stay in Managua for a couple days, because I guess with liver biopsies, you have a greater risk of like bleeding out. Like, your liver kind of doesn't want to close up after a biopsy. So be there for a couple days. But anyway, I had a CT scan or MRI, something like that, of my brain and my spine. And this is something I haven't talked about yet, but it came back basically that my brain and spine, my entire spine, are all showing signs what could potentially maybe be multiple sclerosis. So I'll be seeing a neurologist starting on Monday. So it's been a crazy whirlwind of just so much stuff. Because I mean, like, I remember last year, I think it was at PCA, I was really starting to feel like these crazy symptoms. Like, I couldn't just stand like I used to. So like, I'd have to sit down on the couch all the time, and like, I had to like bounce out. Like, at night we all hang out at Circle Bar and, just do our thing. And I was like having to go back to the room, and I'm like, this is not okay, And so I really started digging into everything, and they don't know what all this is coming from, but it's two separate things. Right now we know it's two separate things. So I have an enlarged liver. They're trying to figure out why, but also my brain is shrinking and my whole spine, I just herniated discs and all this other stuff that's going on. So again, they're kind of leaning towards multiple sclerosis, but I have to see a neurologist now to see if that's really it. So it's been interesting, but I've had a decent past 3 weeks. more good days than bad, which for the past like 8 months has been more bad days than good. So I'm counting that as a win. So, and I can still smoke cigars. So like, it's not too bad.
Yeah, I mean, you own a cigar brand, so I mean, if you couldn't smoke cigars, that'd be pretty tough. But I mean, that is some serious stuff. And
Yeah.
as you know, we're thinking of you and Josh and everyone else with that, and I hope that you're okay in the long run. That's I've had some liver issues in the past too, and I know it's very scary too, because if that's fucked up, you're fucked. So I know how that goes. So I do feel for you on that one, and then I hope everything ends up being okay.
I think the scariest part, it's just not knowing. That's the scariest part.
Mhm.
Of
It's
course.
just like you can't
100%.
figure out. You just feel wrong. You just feel like you're not. Like there was a point where I was just like, I think I'm dying. Like I think that I'm going to die before they figure out what's going on with me. Like it got really, really scary for a little bit. But I have confidence. I mean, like being in Nicaragua, everybody thinks like when I go to the hospital, I'm like on dirt floors and it's like all this crazy shit. I'm like, no, like the care here is phenomenal. They care. Like I can text my doctor. He was just texting me while we were like, before the show started. And it's just mind-boggling to me, like how much they truly care here. They
Right.
want to know what's going on, and they move so fast here that it's overwhelming. Like in the States, you're like, oh, 6 months before I can see this specialist, get approved by insurance, or make sure they take this insurance, or get in, if I can even see a doctor, whatever, like all these different things in the States. And here, they're just like, boom, 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 and you can't even like process what's going on because they move so fast here. So it's beautiful, but it's different, and you get answers here very fast. I can't even imagine what this would be like if it was in the States. I feel like I'd be 5 years out before they even figure out anything remotely close to what's going on with me. So there's
I
always
can 100% vouch for
time.
that. This is going through health issues in the States, major health issues, and it's just, yeah, you're 100% right. It's like they don't tell you anything and you have to wait, and this test isn't medically necessary and that test isn't medically necessary, even though that you need these tests to find out if you really, it's extremely frustrating. So that is awesome to hear that they're that attentive and that much attention to detail in Nicaragua.
I'll tell you,
come down here.
Oh, go ahead, Josh.
In 48 hours, probably know what your issue is for most things. You know what I mean? And then they'll have you in surgery, removing whatever a day later, if that. It may be that afternoon. I mean, we had some issues right after we moved here. We went into emergency, checked it out.
I had surgery within like 48 hours. It was just boom. Like,
no kidding.
We want to do this or that. And it's like, we want to do that. They're like, okay, surgery. 3 hours later, then we're in recovery, then released a day later. So it's quick. And medical tourism is a thing here. Like, we have friends that set all that up for people. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's funny. Like, I won't really get into specifics on the air, but we have a very mild thing with our daughter that we're dealing with the doctor, and she's totally fine. And again, it's not like a major thing, but it's something we have to do. And while we're on this topic, it's funny because Nicole and I, were talking about this earlier, and it's just she's had to go from her regular doctor to like a specialist, and then she goes to the specialist, and they're like, well, we need something from the doctor. And then she goes back to the doctor, and they're like, no, you get that from them. And it's just been back, and the thing that we need to do for our daughter, we still haven't been able to do, because both sides are like, no, the other one needs to do that. And it's like, can anyone just get on the phone and be like, hi, we have Anastasia Tobacco who needs this, and can you guys just like, why are we running back and forth to like play this pass the baton game of like, oh no, that's not my baton, you gotta go. And it's just like you're talking about a minor issue too, like, and people can't get their shit straight. I can't imagine like with a major issue, like, and I know about some of Kevin's like personal medical history too, which I won't get into, and I know what he's dealt with that, and it's just like, Jesus, like, it's true.
I was actually going to address that because I mean, Josh, I reached out to Josh, and when I was going through the brunt of that, and I mean, his motivation and daily words of wisdom helped
That's
me
the guy right
significantly
there.
through that. I mean, it's definitely one of the most motivational, inspirational people in the world, and definitely
Thank
helped me through. But it was mind numbing. I mean, it's no secret. Those the people that know me, I'm a prostate cancer survivor, and the testing and some of the things that I had to go through that weren't deemed medically necessary was just mind boggling and extremely frustrating and depressing that I had to go through that. So I'm happy that you're saying that you're in a country where they're attentive and they're able to get you answers and able to get things moving forward for you. So you still have to worry, obviously, because it's just part of it, right? You're not feeling good, you're sick, you worry, but it's nice to know that an answer and a possible solution is right around the corner versus wondering when the hell or if they're ever even going to have a solution for it. So
Yeah, I mean, and the cost of things here too. I mean, like we pay out of pocket with with everything, and it's crazy. Like if you walked into the hospital and said, I want to get a CT scan of my whole body. I just want to know like if I'm doing good or not. They'd be like, yeah, no problem. $400, and you're just like, oh shit, okay, and you can literally just have a scan of your body just to see if you're doing okay. And we're in America that's like, oh no, there's like so much red tape. You can't do this, can't do that. You got to get approved by insurance. If you don't have insurance, it's astronomical. And it's just like, why are you a herd of cattle in the U.S.? Like, why is it like that? Where you go to a country like Nicaragua and they truly love you and they truly want to see you get. I will never forget when they told me that they were pretty much they were saying I had breast cancer. I only had a 5% chance that I didn't. So it's still crazy to me that it came out that I didn't, but I will never forget when I found that out, my doctor grabbed me and she just hugged me and held me. And I didn't even ask for that. She didn't even know if I was going to cry. She just wanted to make sure I knew that I was cared about, and that's what made me cry. I was fine until she hugged me, and then I was a damn baby. I'm like,
That's so nice to hear, though. I mean, you go to the doctor here, and they're just like, yeah, so it's cancer. Oh,
I mean, that really goes back.
We'll see you next time.
That almost goes back to the days of doctors, like when my parents were young. When back in small town USA, when doctors actually gave a shit about their patients versus
what year was that?
How much insurance is how much insurance money am I going to get? And Matthew, this is for you, buddy.
What?
I was waiting for it.
So what year was that? Like 1850? Like, come on.
Yeah, it was about the time that dirt was invented.
Oh man, I'm just waiting to get yelled at by Barbara. That's all I'm waiting for, because that's the icing on the cake.
Oh, you guaranteed it's coming now.
I know. I did it on purpose. I gotta make sure she's gotta keep her on her toes.
Uh-huh.
Allison's with us, reminding us it is Valentine's Day. So happy Valentine's Day to everybody out there. Hopefully you have a Valentine.
Happy Valentine's Day.
Barbara, I'm being good. Yeah. But yeah, no, it's Valentine's Day. So Kevin, that red backdrop is very, very fitting today. It's very appropriate.
Yeah, we can kind of get a little heart going here.
There you go. Then gonna break it. Heartbreak. No. Let's do our news really quickly. And then we'll get back to our conversation. Our news is brought to you once again by our friends at Micallef Cigars. That's right. Oh, I lost Kevin. There he is. Our friends at Micallef Cigars, featuring the Micallef Black, rated 91 at SmokinTabacco.com. None other than this guy. Wait, it's backwards. This guy. Head over there to read the review now. Today, Micallef Black, it's a blackout. So this news story I wanted to read because I was very excited when I got this one, because I know this person pretty well. And he's been absent from the cigar industry the last few years. And I saw that he's coming back with his own brand. And I was like, holy shit. Eric Wentworth is back. And he launches 3-leaf cigars. So Eric Wentworth, for those who might not know who he is, he was formerly with a brand called Hammer and Sickle, which closed up shop 2 years ago. And he kind of worked his way up into that company and did some really cool things. And they closed up shop, and I don't remember what he did in between, but I know that he wasn't really around very much. And then I didn't see him, and with everything that we've had going on, you get kind of wrapped up in everything, and I'll admit I kind of forgot about him, and then he came back to the forefront this week, and saw he was launching 3 Leaf, and I was like, oh my God, Eric Wentworth, that's my boy right there, and he's back, and he's doing his own thing, and I'm very excited. I can't wait to try the cigars, and I think we're gonna have Eric in studio coming up in a few weeks, or no, not a few weeks, maybe April. So he'll be with me in the studio. We'll talk all about it. We'll get to know the brand. I don't know if he's going to the trade show. That I have not clarified with him, or if he's going to wait a few years before he makes that jump. But yeah, really, really cool. Kevin, I don't know if you saw that news story, if you read it.
Yeah, I did. I saw that. That was actually very exciting news. It's and happy to see him jumping into the next thing, and I think it's a no-brainer. He's going to be successful at it.
I'm going to give him, Allison, who remembers the marble boxes they had? I remember those. Those were cool. And then they went from marble boxes, and then they had like these really slick like leather boxes that like opened up over the top. They were really badass. Those cigars were pretty good. They had, they also made the Hermitage brand, which was really good. Those are some good cigars. And then, I think, if I remember correctly, and someone will correct me if I'm wrong, but I want to say that Hammer and Sickle closed up shop because of the Russian invasion of Ukraine.
That sounds right.
And I'm getting the thumbs up, so I was correct on that one. So this is nice. I love having a live studio audience. This feels like the Cigar Authority. This is great.
Well, that's if you trust Terrence Riley isn't going to steer you wrong.
This is awesome. I got to do this more often. But yeah, this is great. I have my fact-checking team behind me now, and so this is great. So he did leave the industry, but now he's back. So just a huge shout out to Eric, because he's such an awesome guy. Kind of reminds me of Mike McDaniel of the Miami Dolphins, because he's also a sneaker guy. I know that for a fact. But yeah, we'll have him on the show, and we'll talk with him about all that and what his plans are for the future, and learn some more about it. And it'll be awesome. He's a great guy. I saw that story, and I can't wait to try the cigars. It sounds like it's going to be awesome. And he knows his shit too. I'll give him that. He does know his shit. He did pretty well.
He definitely knows his shit.
Yeah. So anyway, that's going to be the news for the week. Brought to you by Micallef Cigars. We'll bring our guests back on here.
They're back.
They're back. Thank you guys for waiting with us while we did that.
Yeah.
So we're getting to that point in the show where it's time to ask you some of the questions that sometimes people want to answer and sometimes they don't. I know you guys didn't go to TPE. Obviously, with the trade shows being so close together, you guys are in Nicaragua. And Kevin, you were at TPE, and I don't think you've been on the show since TPE has happened. So you are obviously at any point welcome to jump in and kind of fill in the blanks with that show. But a much quieter trade show. But it sounds to me like
extremely quiet.
But it sounds to me like Cynn, you guys kind of like holding out. We're gonna go to PCA. So obviously we didn't see you guys there, and you didn't have anything. But talking about PCA, we're almost weeks away from PCA here. We're just under a month to go. I know you guys will be exhibiting, as well as everyone else from Fabrica Oveja Negra. Sorry, I tried to say that too fast, and I almost got jumbled up. But I know we're smoking the Heretic. This is a Midwest exclusive, but is there anything else that we could be getting excited to see at PCA? Any major drops?
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm pretty stoked about this next cigar. I can't divulge too much.
It's not the Molotov coming back?
It's not, but
one can dream.
I will say it has touches of the Molotov in some way. I will say that.
Does it have the Ometepe in it?
About the cigar. I'm not telling you.
Oh, see? Come on. I do my homework. I pay attention.
You can't blame a guy for trying, right?
That's some good tobacco.
I know. It's my favorite. So the Heretic does have Ometepe in it.
Oh, it does. Okay.
Yeah. So like we smoke the Heretic all the time because it's a nice. I don't know. It's similar to the Molotov just because of that Ometepe, and we're actually really good friends with the people that grow that tobacco. So they're at our house a lot, and I don't know, I love it because it just makes it so personal, and they're just wonderful people, just such wonderful humans. So I don't know, Ometepe is just really close to our hearts because of the people behind it. But yeah, getting back to your question, there is another cigar coming out, and it will be at PCA, and I'm super stoked about it, especially because we're straddling the line with
well, here, I will say it in the most politically correct way that I can say it.
Okay.
But it's as dissident as we could get without being illegal. It is in tribute to the things that we love most, and I've never seen anything quite like the artwork, as forward as the artwork is in the industry ever, created by Cynthia and myself. And the cigar is stellar, not only in taste, but visually it's stunning. And when you put all those pieces together, like when the Molotov dropped, it got a lot of people talking because the artwork is different. It featured a brand owner, which is weird, and that's what dissidents do. Right? You don't push an envelope, you chuck a fucking grenade in it and blow it up. That's what we do.
And the flavor profile was so different from what Dissident has ever done.
Yeah.
So, and that's how this cigar is as well.
And then you factor in all the rules, right, of business, of branding, of all that. But if you're us, do you really give a shit about rules? The answer is no, you really don't.
You're like, cease and desist.
Rules? We don't need no stinking rules.
That's what this industry is all about anyway, though, right? Isn't that what happens like on a day-to-day basis?
Well, and I will say there have been a few companies recently that have had some major success going outside their comfort zone and going outside what the norm is for their companies. So that's very encouraging to hear that that's where you guys are kind of going.
Yeah, pushing the boundaries.
I would say that the Molotov was a good preview to this step, and this is a good preview to what comes after that, because we already have plans, and it
all tells a story, basically.
Yeah.
It all just tells a story about not only Dissident, but who I think the general population in the cigar industry is, and I think that Dissident really touches base with your everyday smoker. It's the blue collar guys that really make this industry, and we really want to make sure that everyone is seen and heard and understood, and so we're really, really focusing on that. It's really important to us. I mean, like, they lay the groundwork for everything, blue collar workers, and cigars are not cheap. So for people out there, like, to choose Dissident, like, when they can choose any cigar, Dissident's not the cheapest, it's just like, man, like, thank you, like, this is how we show you guys that we appreciate you. So we're really focusing on that aspect and just, I don't know, like, understanding that world, and
And the other thing with this is it's kind of the first step in a new series that will unveil itself over the course of the next couple years, with other releases.
You're giving away a lot.
Well, is this going to be a core? Is this a core brand that's going to be expanded on?
It's not a brand. It's still Dissident. It's just
or a line, I should say.
Yeah, everything. But it's a series. But it's just, it'll be different. It'll be outside the norm even for us, and definitely outside the norm for the industry in terms of the visuals of it.
Same factory, I assume everything's made at Oveja Negra?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
We're Oveja Negra.
We're just expanding the flavor profiles, too, because Dissident was only known for so long as, like, these heavy cigars, strong flavors, all Nicaraguan fillers, and, like, Maduro cigar, like, all this stuff. And I'm like, okay, like that's wonderful. We all love those type of cigars, but that's only sectioning it off to one group of people, and I want everyone to see that like we can do everything, you know. So you're gonna get a lot more flavors in these upcoming cigars that aren't typical for Dissident. So we're really focusing on that, on making new profiles for Dissident. So
it's also worth mentioning that the Molotov's not dead. Don't worry.
It's definitely not.
So,
Jesus, thank God. I finally have
is
that.
it, Matt, I gotta ask: is it wrong that I'm actually like aroused right now?
Hey.
No,
There'll be none of that here.
Get the cigar.
Matt's not
I mean,
here.
I was gonna say, I feel like somebody's in here, like, you know, whispering in my ear, like, you know, dirty little secrets. It's like I feel.
Is Matt over there? I mean, that's the only person that comes to mind when it becomes very arousal.
There's nobody else here.
You know, it's funny. I have to say, since you bring this up, I actually had to text Matt yesterday because while I was at my place of regular employment, someone proceeded to explain to me in vivid detail of a certain very particular sensual experience that they received, and I remember being like, wow, okay, thank you for sharing this with me. I'm completely unprovoked. And then I thought to myself, I gotta text Matt Booth and be like, I just heard about this, and his response was, huh, you don't say. And I'm like, yeah, I knew you'd appreciate it. So
Yeah, he's totally just, it's like, yeah, okay, and
I'm like, well, you know, the feeling I got was, and you've never done that 100 times? And I'm like, no, I haven't, but I'm not surprised you have. So anyway, but yeah, you know, you can always rely on him when it gets extra sensual and aroused. But yeah,
so I see some interesting conversations coming forth from the trade show, Matt.
I know that tells me that's a booth we definitely don't want to miss. We're gonna have to circle through there. I think that's gonna be me and you, Kev. I think we're gonna be rolling through there. So I hope you're ready because I'm excited to find out what they have up their
Yeah, I
sleeve.
would love to see you guys. And Josh will be there this year. He didn't go last year. He didn't go to TPE either. So this is the first time in almost 2 years he's actually gone to a trade show. So
Yeah,
he's going to be making his appearance.
I have been decidedly not public for the first time in my life the last few years, and I'll admit that it's absolutely wonderful in so many ways, because for so many years I was the distinct opposite of that.
Yeah.
And it's been good, but I'm excited to shake some hands and see some faces and, you know, high five some people we haven't seen in a while. So that'll be great.
He'll have to learn to talk to the public again. He'll be like used to talking to the monkeys, so I'm gonna have to like coach him on like what to say to actual humans now.
You got to get back into the swing. I know.
I will say, Josh, your absence has been missed.
It has. I missed you last year. It was weird.
Yeah,
That means a lot.
It's crazy too, because I know before the show started, we were talking about social media, and it's just like, you know, as I said, like Facebook took his Facebook down, like his entire profile just wiped out, and that's years and years of motivational stuff that he can't even get back. And so I've gotten so many messages from people like, why can't I share memories? Why don't I have this, that? And I'm like, dude, we're trying. Like, he's been trying for like a month now to get his profile back, and they won't do it. And he's never done anything bad. He's literally only had motivational posts, and they just took it down.
Well,
it's
it's
just
funny
crazy.
because, like, the other thing that we do, or that I guess more I do, is you know, where we make our bread and butter prior to the cigar world was not only motivational speaking but social media marketing. So you know, that's been my world. So it's really funny that like the guy that's quote unquote professional for, you know, 18 years in the business or whatever the hell it's been since the beginning, really loses his shit. It's so funny, but whatever.
It's I know. I saw that whole thing unfold and I was like, this is like the last guy that should be like taken off of Facebook.
Yeah, it's utterly
Like,
ridiculous.
Like the complete opposite of what like what? What a disservice. They did themselves a disservice with that one.
And what's weird is you can still see his fan page, but he can't even access that fan page. So even if you tried to contact him through that, he can't see
It won't go
because
anywhere,
he
yeah.
had to go through his actual Facebook to get to his fan page. It's a nightmare. But I feel terrible because there's been so many people that have looked forward to his stuff, and it's just gone.
Yeah.
And, you know, there's still it's Twitter, of course, but you know, when all that started happening, I was kind of over it, and you know, I'm tired. I did that stuff for years, and to be honest, I appreciate all of your guys' kind words, and part of me is like, it's time to pass the torch. Someone else can hold up the sign and spread the good word for a while.
Right.
Maybe I'm just this old wizard that I'm getting more white. It's time to just let some young kid.
You got the beard for it.
Balls and aggression go do it.
Balls and aggression.
Well, hey, it'll be interesting to see who takes the torch and runs with it. But we need more good people like that out in the world. But hopefully to some capacity we do get to see a little bit more of you on social media again someday. But it'll still be exciting to see you at the trade show. I can't wait to see you guys. Really looking forward to swinging by the booth and seeing what you guys have to offer. And as always, thank you for being on the show with us tonight. I always appreciate when you guys are here and you give us your time. I know you guys have a lot going on, so it's always great when you can swing by.
Yeah, we love you guys.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right back at you.
Absolutely. Well, guys, we are getting towards the end of our show, so I am going to wrap it up there. I want to thank everyone for being here tonight, as well as everyone listening and watching at home. Don't forget to head over to SmokinTabacco.com for more news, reviews, and updates from the cigar industry and our upcoming PCA 2024 coverage brought to you by Drew Estate. We will be on location in Las Vegas in just about a month's time. Can't wait. I'm already tired, and I'm already trying to think about being more tired at the trade show because I know I don't sleep at the trade show, and I can't even imagine being more tired than I am now. But
well, then all the stuff we're going to do that's not cigar related that you're going to be doing while you're out here, you're really going to be tired.
Well, it's funny.
It's exhausting.
I'm excited to have a break from the baby and go on like a trip, but then I'm like, but I'm not going to make up any rest there. If anything, I'm going to come home more tired. So it's like, what a way to do it. But you know what? It's the only way. So I can't wait for it. But that's going to be our show for tonight, guys. Thank you very much for watching. To the Coburns, thank you for being here tonight. Check out Dissident Cigars. Ask your local brick-and-mortar retailer for it. Get it in the store. That's always the goal. If you don't ask them, they won't look at it. So make sure you ask them for it. And we'll see you guys next week. All right, take care.